Hey, what's going on YouTube? Gary here, gzduel, here to bring you guys a duel between my Lightrays and my opponent who's playing some Mermails. And I wanted to show you guys this duel, even though it was supposed to be a match, but my opponent quit. I thought it was a really well played duel on both sides. I'll show you guys. I'll show you guys why and the plays that I made and the thinking process that went through my mind. So of course, first of all, I begun with the Solar Recharge, and I drew into another Raikou, so that's pretty good. But I decided I'm not going to go with the Raikou play. I feel like, I only want to play Raikou when I want to destroy something, so I'm going to start off with Thunder King. It's like very safe, and I also have these two hand traps, so I'm not too worried. So my opponent just set one card, and he just said go, and I see that I only have like 3 light monsters, so I'm going to enter battle phase and just attack with Thunder King. To which my opponent just chains Abyss Sphere. So I was like, okay, I'm going to chain Max C to Abyss Sphere, so that when he summons the Lindy, I'm going to draw a card, and when I attack into the Lindy with my Thunder King, I get to draw another card, so I get a bit of a plus. And it's harder to plus with Mermails, actually, because there's not that many explosions that they would like to do, well, at least none that your Max C can profit off, because, they only ever just special summon out Megalo and stuff like that. So I drew into 2 cards. I actually drew into an Honest, which is pretty awesome. And I'm going to use the Solar Recharge to ditch the Lumina that I have in my hand in order to draw 2 cards and mill 2 more cards to the graveyard. This is good because it's setting up my graveyard, and I'm not too worried about, having a lot of cards in my hand, because I'll end up just setting the Raikou, because the Raikou is, I have a normal summon, so I'm going to set the Raikou to try to deal with the Megalo or whatever he tries to summon. And then my opponent, he does a very smart play as well. He decides, he knows that I have a set card, so he's gonna try to get rid of the set card. He probably knows it's going to be a Raikou, so he normal summons the marksman. He tries to destroy my my Raikou by using Megalo's effect and paying it as a cost. But I have Honest. I drew into it with Max C, so I'm going to use Honest when he attacks with Megalo, so I'm going to do some damage to my opponent. So this is pretty good. Right now, he has 5 cards in his hand, I have 5 cards in my hand, but I also have a Thunder King on the field, which is pretty good for me. So now it's my turn. I drew into another Veiler, and at first I was like, oh my god, I have so many Veilers. And then my opponent chains Max C. Apparently he doesn't want me to kill him this turn, or just like go off with my Luminas and go into Lilas and all that stuff. So I'm just going to play it safe, and I'm just going to attack with Thunder King. Apparently he really wanted that 1 extra turn, so I'm going to allow that 1 extra turn. I have 3 Veilers in my hand, so if he summons Diva, I'm going to Veiler it. If he summons out like Megalo, I'm going to Veiler it as well, and it's going to be pretty cool. Actually no, don't Veiler Megalo, I already have Thunder King on the field, so scratch that. That's my bad. So he's going to set another card, and I know for sure it's going to be something like Lindy. So I'm going to just normal summon my... I'm looking at my graveyard, I see that I have like Lila, and I have like Lumina as well. So I'm going to try to use my Lumina, discard my Photon Thrasher to get another Lumina, so that I can go for a rank 3 Exceed after. But I know that it is it's going to be a Lindy, so I'm also going to try to special summon out the Gearfried. But he uses Veiler, so my Lumina cannot special summon out another Lumina. So at this point I was like, I have to use my Gearfried because I need to attack over the Megalo or the Abyss lead that he summons out with his face down Lindy, and in that way I won't have to like allow him to have a level 7 monster on the field, because if he has a level 7 monster on the field, there's a good chance that he might go for something like Abyss Gaios. Abyss Gaios really hurt me, and he might go for something like Dragosack. So of course I attack into his Lindy, and his Lindy is going to bring out, he actually wanted to bring out the Abyss Spike, and he discarded Infantry to try to destroy my Gearfried, and then he said, oh no, I can't actually do that because, you have Thunder King, I can't add. To which I respond, you could do that, it's just you can't add the card, you can still pay it as a cost. It's the same thing as if the Abyss Spike's effect was negated in the first place. So it's totally fine. He can totally just discard the Heaven Infantry and destroy my Gearfried, but he just can't search for like a level 3 water monster from his deck to his hand. That's it. He just can't add that. But of course, I don't really mind since he went with Abyss Spike. I don't have to worry about him summoning out something like Megalo to attack over my Thunder King. So it's really not that big of a deal. And of course, he's going to try to attack into my my Lumina, because next turn I'll use Lumina's effect. So he's looking at my graveyard, seeing what my Lumina can do, of course, and he's seeing how many light monsters I have, and he's going to try to come up with something here to go for a bit of a push. I think, if I'm not mistaken, what my opponent decided to do was to summon out something like Marksman. Yes, he summons Marksman, and I immediately wanted to chain Veiler, but my opponent entered battle phase as soon as he summoned the Marksman, so I'm going to say chain in main phase 1, before you enter battle phase, I'm going to chain Veiler to your Marksman. That way, when his Marksman attacks or does damage, then he won't be able to summon out the Dragoons. Because if he summons out the Dragoons, what he can do is he can go for rank 4 Exceed with Dragoons and the Abyss Spike, and that would give him a lot of advantage, and I didn't want that to happen, so my Veiler was really good. So that was like a very well played counter. So my opponent has this useless Marksman on the field, and I'm not too worried about that. And when it's my turn, I have a big choice here. Should I destroy the Marksman, or should I destroy the Abyss Spike? And I decided to go with the Abyss Spike. Because in my opinion, if he summons out another level 3 monster and goes for an Exceed, then I can, negate that Exceed summon. But if he goes for, Abyss Spike and he goes for Dragoons, then, I don't really want that to happen. Plus, he wouldn't be able to get over the Thunder King with the Marksman anyway. And even when he tries to do something like this, like when he summons out Lindy to try to crash into my Thunder King, to get out something like Megalo, and when Megalo does damage, I can summon out the Tragodia, so that when I have Tragodia on the field, his Marksman cannot do anything. And since I don't have any set cards, Megalo tributing the Marksman wouldn't do anything to me at all. So I'm allowing that. I'm going to take 500 damage, and I'm going to summon out the Tragodia when I take the 500 damage. Therefore, my Tragodia has, my Tragodia has 1800 attack, so his Marksman would not be able to get over it. And in main phase 2, he decides he's going to go for a Monster Reborn. Of course, evidently, he's going to go get something like another Megalo. So he's going to go for a rank 7 Exceed to try to go into something like Dragosack. So I have the Veiler ready, so when he goes into the Dragosack, I'm just going to chain Veiler to Dragosack's effect, and the next turn I can use Dark Hole. So far, it's like really well played. Like, everything had to be on point. I needed to have those Veilers. And he set 1 card, so I'm probably sure it's going to be something like Abyss Sphere. So, not too worried about that yet. Not worried about that yet. So I'm going to use Dark Hole, like I said. I'm going to get rid of his stuff. And before summoning it, I decided to check his graveyard and check my graveyard. And apparently he already used 3 of his Lindies, so even if that's an Abyss Sphere, I'm not really worried at all, because when he gets out Abyss Sphere, the monster that he gets out with Abyss Sphere just dies during the end phase. And since it's not Lindy, I don't really care about that right now. And plus, I have a Veiler in my hand, which is good, so that when he top decks something like, Deep Sea Diva, then I can use Veiler on his Deep Sea Diva, and everything will be alright. So like I said, he activates the Abyss Sphere, and he's going to summon out something, I think he's going to either summon out Lead, or he's going to summon out something like Abystius to prevent the attack. Yes, he summons out Abystius to prevent my attack from going through, but I'm like, alright, that's cool. During the end phase, I'll just mill 3 cards with my Lila's effect, and then just pass my turn off to my opponent. At this point, we're both in a pretty precarious stage, but for me it's good, because my deck, whenever you top deck something like a Lightray monster, then you're godly, you're golden. And I have the Veiler ready, so it's going to be alright. When it's my turn to draw into Monster Reborn, at first I was hesitating, does he play Gores? I mean, like, if he plays Gores, then should I go for the final push and end all of his life points? And I thought about it, I was like, yeah, I'm going to go for the Monster Reborn. I'm going to go for something like Megalo, just to finish off his life points, and let's not drag this out any longer. To which he just surrenders. So I was like, how do I side in against Mermails? But he quit. So I hope you guys enjoyed this well-played duel. This is Gary gzduels, signing out.